Hi guys, today we're going to talk about 2 exercises that you can use really no matter what your goals are in the strength training world, whether you're a powerlifter, bodybuilder, strongman. These kind of bridge the gaps between one world and another, when worlds collide. So one of the things I've been talking about recently are my grip problems in the deadlift, and how that's really been a frustrating issue to me because I know I have the strength to put up a lot more weight, but it's just not happening on the platform. Sometimes it's not even happening in the gym, depending on how I'm feeling that day. So this is one of my favorite exercises to bring up grip. It's the farmer's walk. You've probably seen it before, but Mike's going to explain some of the nuances about it that you might not be familiar with.
Right, so yeah, kind of to piggyback on what Ben was saying here, the 2 movements we're picking is farmer's carry, and I like to say carry rather than walk, just this walking indicates sort of like, I'm just walking. Carry indicates a little more like a determined purpose, but that's just a little minor pet peeve. And bench press. So the farmer's carry can translate to any strength athlete, whether you're an Olympic lifter, bodybuilder, power lifter, strongman, etc., because it brings up a lot of areas that people are deficient in, like Ben was talking about with grip. So if you're losing deadlifts at the top because your grip's giving out, do some heavy farmer's carries. Your pull's weak off the floor, it might be an upper back issue, do some heavy farmer's carries. You got some core weakness, some midline instability, do some heavy farmer's carries. You got core conditioning, do some farmer's carries. So it's a very universal exercise that can be used for a lot of different things. So real quick, we're going to go over some kind of basic technique for it. So the pick is very similar to like a hex bar deadlift. Okay, so the hex bar, the hexagonal bar that kind of wraps around you, and the handles are a little more centered. Very similar pick position, if not the exact same, as a hex bar deadlift. So you want your midfoot right about even with the middle of the handles. From there, you want to place your grip, your middle finger in particular, right about even with your midfoot, once again, right about the middle of your arch. You can either have your hands directly centered on the implement or have them slightly more to the back. Now, if you're a strongman competitor looking to gain any advantage that you can get, you want to have them slightly more to the back, because then when you pick them up, the handles are going to tilt forward, kind of propelling you forward, as opposed to if you pick it up with your hands more to the front, that way it's pulling you backwards instead of helping you move forward. Okay, so it kind of depends on what you're looking to do. If you're looking for just general, work with the implements, have them kind of directly centered. From there, what you want to think about is kind of that combination deadlift squat position that you have to do for a hex bar. So you're not completely hinged with vertical shins like you would for a deadlift, because then it's all back to pick it and you're not getting any help from the legs. So it's that right in between position where you're getting a decent amount of knee flexion. Okay? Torso is still nice and vertical, and you're getting that kind of squat deadlift position that you would have for a hex bar. Okay? So once you pick it, what you want to focus on is footwork. Okay? When I'm talking about footwork, I'm talking about short, choppy steps with movement below the knee as opposed to movement at the hip. So when you walk, just in your everyday life, walking down the street, you're moving largely at the hip. Okay? When you have a bunch of heavy weight to either side of your body, that's going to create a lot of instability. The more your feet get out from underneath your hips, the more unstable you're going to become, and the more you're going to be dancing all around. So what you want to think about is short, choppy steps. Okay, keeping your feet beneath you, moving your legs like pistons, like so, as opposed to big long steps like you're just walking in the park, going on a Sunday walk, something like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick is just kind of a full speed version of what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to do it as if I was a complete beginner to the exercise. So I'm going to pick the weight up, settle it, then focus on short, choppy steps, slow and controlled, and I'm going to build a little bit of speed as I go, but you'll notice I'm building speed by increasing the pace of my feet, not increasing the length of my stride. Like I said, working on that piston movement below the knee like I'm marching, planting my heel on every step. Okay. So pick, settle, short, choppy steps. As I gain some stability, I'm going to gain some speed by, once again, increasing the pace of my steps, not the length of my steps. So once again, get your big breath of air, brace. Okay, up to kind of like a more full speed. Notice how I'm not rolling my shoulders back, I'm not hyperextending, I'm getting that neutral spine position, keeping it short breaths into the belly, to stay nice and tight. You definitely don't want to hold your breath. Okay, so that's kind of a quick run through of the farmer's carry. So we'll have Ben come back on camera here and talk a little bit more about, wait, we're going right into Ben's one. Sorry.
No, I'll talk about how I like to use it.
Okay, cool.
feet. So just a few differences, little small nuances in how I do the farmer's carry to help my deadlift as opposed to how Mike was showing it for maximum kind of athletic ability, right? So for me, I'm trying to make sure that this is as close to my deadlift as possible because I'm using it for a very, very specific purpose, right? I'm specifically using it to help my deadlift grip. If you have an upper back weakness in the deadlift, right, you have trouble with your lockout, you also might want to use this as kind of an assistance exercise for that. So Mike mentioned the part about how, you know, you want to make sure that you're pushing your knees forward a little bit to get that pick off the ground. It will make you stronger at the pick. For the deadlift, I try and make my setup identical to my deadlift setup. So I'm going to come up with my feet kind of right in between the handles, right? So I'm neutrally aligned. I'm not more towards the back because I'm not so concerned about how quickly I'm going to carry these handles. I'm more concerned about, okay, how close is this to my deadlift? When I'm doing a deadlift, I have the bar aligned right over my midfoot. So I'm right in between the handles. Before I go down to grab the bar, I pick my lats up just like I was doing the deadlift, pick my arms up just like I was doing a deadlift to help me get my lats set. And then I really pull them down and back, really trying to get my shoulder blades down, kind of towards my hip pockets if I had them. Then when I go to grip the bar, so normally I pull a hook grip. If I'm doing grip training, I won't. I'll do just regular overhand, which is one reason I really like the farmers. You have that neutral grip. It's easier on your shoulders, and it's also a little bit better for alignment. So I grab right in the middle of the handles, squeeze as hard as I can, pull my lats down, and I'm almost in the exact same position I would be in a deadlift as opposed to if I were trying to, you know, really do this as a farmer's walk thing. I'd have a lot more knee displacement. So pick, and I like to really hold this. I'm not a very fast person in general, so I'm not gonna walk with it, but I'll hold it before and after my carry. So I'll pick it up, I'll hold it for a little bit, I'll do the carry, I'll pause, and then I'll put it down. And that allows me to get a little bit extra grip work in without really loading this quite as heavily as Mike or a strongman would have to really transfer to a competition setting very well. But I don't like to load these super heavy because I feel like that makes it more difficult for me to recover for my then heavy deadlift session that I'm probably doing later in the week, or maybe I did earlier in the week. The other thing I really want to caution people about is sometimes I see them try to, you know, really get that upper back and really drop the shoulders. You can shorten this range of motion to almost nothing. Not a great idea, really easy to strain something in your upper back. And that's not going to carry over your deadlift at all, because if you end up in that position in the deadlift, the bar's not going anywhere. So just a couple things to look out for, a little bit of things that you might need to change, and in general, whenever you're trying to use an exercise for a purpose that's maybe slightly different than the way it's intended, think about it, be creative, be mindful, so that you can really take advantage of that in a skillful way, not just kind of, you know, throw darts at a chalkboard trying to figure out what works.